Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Our first order of business is approval of Paul, who is on the phone. Can I get a motion on that? Linda, second Betty. Okay, we'll be using iPads to vote. Please vote. Okay. Thank you. That's unanimous. Welcome, Paul. So second order of business is approval of the January 28th, 2025 minutes, and I'm going to take these together. The February 13th, 2025 special joint county health and finance audit and legislative affairs. Can I get a motion, please? Rob, second. Jennifer? Are there any comments, questions, additions, mistakes? Okay, please vote. Perfect, thank you. We're unanimous. Okay. We are moving on to informational items. First is Long-Term Care Services Fund Report.
Good afternoon, thank you. The report is in your packet, and as of December 2024, the fund balance was $3.2 million in a long-term care services fund report. Conservative estimates, we will have the 11 million built up by 2031 at this point, 1 year before the bonds are callable. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
What is the transfer from the general fund, the half of the, do we know that number yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
When we're going to close the year end on March 14th, we should have a better idea at March committees.
Great, thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on. FY 2025 Peoria County Capital Projects, funding sources, and progress.
In your packet are the expenses through February 13th. I want to point out that we have received the pay app from River City for the $1.3 million in retainage. That has not been reflected as it has not been paid out, but we are getting very close to closing that out.
Any questions for Heather? Okay, moving on. Accounts payable, employee reimbursement, and purchase card activity for January 2025.
You have a lot of transactions in your packet to peruse if you haven't already. If you have any questions on anything specific, I'm happy to try to answer those for you.
Any questions? Ms. Daly?
So we purchased PlayStation games for the JDC.
So my understanding is they have I believe it's through their one of their grants. Jennifer Shadid or Ryan Breedlove would be better able to answer that specific question for you. And they do games and the snacks as a reward system, from my understanding.
Okay, well, okay, I guess I need to ask one of them.
So I will say that Linda and I have had a discussion with Heather. You might notice that there's some car purchases on there. So we're going to be doing a report on that at some point in the future, just to kind of get a clear idea of when vehicles are purchased, how long we keep them for, that sort of thing. So Heather is in the process of working on that, so I just wanted to let you all know that. So, any other additional questions? Linda?
Well, I just wanted to add that I always think it's important. What we see is the purchase price, but I think it's equally important to understand what was the trade-in. Because if the purchase price is, say, $50,000, but the trade-in was $40,000, you're getting a pretty expensive vehicle.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? Danny?
When you're talking about vehicle replacement, is the county garage going to be included in those conversations?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on. Quarterly strategic plan update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Report is in your packet. Happy to answer any specifics about any of the details. I think most everyone has already heard me say either yet earlier today or yesterday as a reminder for Saturday, March 22nd. So I will not repeat myself for the 7th time. No, only 6th, because we didn't have Ways and Means. But happy to answer any questions of the committee.
So I asked an earlier, Scott's going to be sending that report out to us via email, so we'll have the whole thing in one document. Are there any questions for Scott? Okay. Moving on, we have one resolution, which is FY24 rollover and FY25 additional appropriations. Can I get a motion, please? Phil, second by Linda.
Okay, thank you. So this is a resolution that we bring forth on an annual basis as we are wrapping up the prior fiscal year and assessing what items that are not on a purchase order, because those roll separately, that we recommend to roll forward to accommodate in the next fiscal year's budget. So this year, our recommendation is $774,176 in revenues and $9.9 million in expenditures. There are not only in the narrative detailed out, but there is a table at the back of this section that line items by revenues at the top, and then expenses by fund in the lower 3/4 of that table. The fiscal impact is of the $774,000 in revenues, $474,000 is in the general fund, and for expenditures of the $9.9 million, $1.5 million is in the general fund. I am happy to answer any questions that you may have on this.
Are there any questions for Heather? Linda?
Can you tell me roughly, it says item F is consulting board initiatives. What is that more specifically?
Do you want me to take this or? Okay. So usually every fiscal year we, anything that has been unspent in the prior year's consulting line, we take an assessment to see what is left and kind of project what we think might be used in the next fiscal year. So consulting is usually one that gets rolled forward with the strategic plan. If there's any initiatives that we had not budgeted for that the March 22nd meeting is going to have conversation come out of, then we would have the funds available to designate towards whatever the board decides.
Okay, so
fiscal
it
year.
is, okay. And then one other question. So we have ATMs in the courthouse to benefit the public in case they need to pay for licensing or fees or something.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Additional questions? Okay. Please vote. So that looks unanimous. Thank you. Any discussion? Public comment? Miscellaneous? Okay, thank you. We're adjourned.